guys? Blake here today with Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on Lake Taneycomo. It is Tuesday, the 18th of January, and I am going to do the one cast today. So, today we are setting all the way up in the chute above, well, right at the top side of Lookout Island. I'm back again with my sinking line crackleback soft tackle setup. That is a size 12 crackleback, green with red hackle, and a rusty red size 14 soft hackle. I'm setting in just about a foot of water right now. This entire stretch across here is about a foot. See some midges rising and some fish rising with them. We got a residual current running through this real shallow spot, and I think it's going to be a better spot to try this setup. I'll give you a closer peek at the flies here. There's the crackleback. There's the soft tackle. And we'll try this for just a little bit up here. I'm really thinking this is going to be a better spot for it, I hope. Got a little bit of water to let those flies swing in. Okay. Fishing reports for today. I only have one. Captain Steve Dickey had a trip today. He said that nothing officially on the first cast. I've got enough current here that I'm going to quarter this downstream, try to leave a little less of a bend in the line. Come on, fly line. Give that to me. Quartering is just where you move at an angle downstream. There's a fish. That is a better fish. So the conditions in this spot are just a touch better. Like I said, having that little bit of moving water to swing those flies helps out a lot. And I think just being over the shallower water, I would think I was fishing them a little too deep yesterday without having a better sink line, a heavier sinking line. But the water is off today. Trying to keep my boat in position. I think this would honestly be better with a regular anchor to hold the boat in place. I'm thinking this is a better sized fish here. And he took the soft tackle. Come on, stay away from the back of the boat. I'm gonna try spot locking. I might regret it. Ugh. Oh yeah, beautiful rainbow. Probably 18, 19 inches long. He took that soft tackle right in the kype of his jaw. There is a very healthy male rainbow. Beautiful. Lots of fun stripping the flies. It's one of my favorite methods whenever I can get away with it. Alright, let's see if we can duplicate. So, Steve Dickey said that while the water was running earlier, they had finally got on a pretty good scud bite, dragging scuds. He said about that time they shut the water off. He said they decided to go downstream below the trophy area to keep chasing the moving water. And said they did fairly well on the pink power worm. Caught their limits. Once again, I'm keeping my very tip of my rod in the water. It's going to help with the hook sets. And when I have moving water, I do slower strips and I do shorter strips generally. And in between each strip, I give that loop in the line time to swing and straighten out just a little bit. I'm gonna scoot in just a little tighter to the island here. Try to touch on some of this shallow water. Seagulls are up here having a heyday, playing around in the shallow water and eating sculpins. Another thing to note when you're stripping is wherever your fly lands, that's where you always want to keep your rod tip pointed. So even though there's a loop in my line that's causing the swing, I'm always gradually moving my rod tip to kind of be even with where I think my flies are at. Oof. This spot where I'm at right now is about as far as you can go up, at least with a prop. And I'll sit here and I'll change my quartering. Sometimes I'll cast even farther downstream whenever I'm getting too much of a angle in my line. I think this might be the better cast here. Got lots of fish just right below me midging. Slowly work my way down over the top of them. Something else you can do when you're trying to work a section of water, you're kind of limited on your movement, is longer and shorter casts. You know, start it straight out with a shorter cast and let it drift, then quarter down, you know, to a 45-degree angle and do a shorter cast, and quarter down and cast almost 90 degrees down, and then start over, except start back up at a straight out and do a longer cast, and then, you know, just kind of quarter all those sections. It'll help you cover the most water possible in each spot you stop at, especially if you're having to pull an anchor each time. Pull this in, just check my flies, because like I said, when you're casting a sink tip, sometimes your flies can get a little tangled up, but looks like I'm okay. I always like to wait until the line is straightened out completely. I'll even do a couple strips with it running directly upstream, and then I usually pull it in and recast. There's a fish right down there. Let's see if I can swing it into him. That's always an option too, if you can spot fish them or sight fish them. Kind of lay your cast out in front of them 15 feet or so and try to swing those flies down to where you saw them surfacing. Oh, there's a hit. When I set the hook on these fish, I generally try to do a strip set, which is when you feel the bite, you just pull down a couple quick times before you lift your rod tip. That's generally what I go for anytime I'm stripping a streamer or a fly. Just try a cast over here on this side. Looks like the water's running just a touch faster over here on the channel side. On that side, I'm gonna let the boat drop down a little farther. Right here on the edge of the island, there's a outcropping of rocks. And sometimes when there's a shallow area and current going by, fish will sit right on the bottom side or the top side of that outcropping and wait to ambush bugs and anything that will come by them. I'm stripping just a little faster right now because the boat is scooting down and I don't have as much tension without the current pushing against it. And cast a few more times and don't find anything, then I will that was a bad cast. I will turn the camera off and I'm going to scoot down to the bluff with a 32nd ounce jig and try that for a second. Oh, that was a bite. He stopped it. I was sleeping on him. Spot lock right here. don't stop and give up on one either, because a lot of the time they'll chase these cracklebacks, soft tackles, and come back for it another time. Oh, there's a bite. Yep, getting a few little lookers. Go ahead and throw one kind of straight downstream and just use the very end part of a swing. The farther down you cast, straight down, the less time you have to swing it, but sometimes it's just that little last quarter section of a swing that really gets their attention anyway. So sometimes that can be more effective. There's definitely some fish loaded up in this shallow gravel bar up here. Just laying you right on top of the fish. Well guys, I think I'm gonna still haven't quite figured this out, but did manage to catch a nice one. Oh, there's a bite. I think I'm gonna pause the camera. I'm gonna drive down just a little bit below to the bluff and throw a 1/32 ounce jig for a few minutes. So I'll be right back with you guys. Alright, I'm back. I just literally cruised from the top of the island right down here in front of Andy Williams. I'm going to fish over towards the bluff side. It's been a while since I threw a 1/32 ounce jig. With the no water running here. Oh, hey, that's not good. So I've got my jigging rod, and I've got a 1/32 ounce orange headed sculpin jig with 2-pound line. And I'm just going to kind of work it out towards the deeper water over here on the bluff. I forgot to mention how nice it is out here today. You can probably tell by the t-shirt I'm wearing, but tomorrow they're calling for Temperature starting in the 30s and dropping for the rest of the day by a low of 17 or something like that by the end of the day. So gonna get quite a bit colder tomorrow, and I think it's supposed to stay like that for a couple days. Of course, it all makes sense. We've got a tournament this weekend, so usually if the bad weather is going to happen, it likes to come during the tournament. As I was driving out from around the island, I think I could have hugged the island side tight, and probably it was really shallow along that island edge, and I saw some more fish midging there. I think I could have done the same thing there. The only problem about that lower side of the island is it is kind of eddied off, so there's not nearly as much residual current. So that might have been the only trick there. The other thought I had was I could have kind of held the trolling motor out of the water and probably scooted the boat, skimmed it up over that less than a foot water, and fished a little higher. I was seeing quite a few fish moving up there. There's days when the water's off that this 1/32 ounce jig is just super killer, and the fish are chasing a bunch and moving around. Jigging them aggressively works good, and but there's other days when the water's off that that aggressive jigging action doesn't work that great. But you can let the jig sink all the way to the bottom. Might even be easier to upsize to like a 1/16 and actually work the jig on the bottom. Pop it, just pop it right on the bottom. Don't get it to lift off too much. Kind of make it look like a little sculpin fish down there, darting from rock to rock. It's obviously a little bit easier to keep it on the bottom when you use a slightly heavier jig. If you have enough patience, you can do the same thing with the 1/32. It's just a very slow retrieve. You can even bring your rod tip down and give it some downward pops to kind of help keep it scraping across the bottom. Just a few more things you can add to your arsenal to try here. I'm only going to take another cast or two, and we're going to call it a day. I'll take one fish stripping a small fly on 19 to 20 inches long any day of the week. Stripping those flies is such a fun way to catch a trout. And if you've got some heavier sinking line, I do suggest trying stripping those flies, except, you know, in the, ooh, there's a fish. Saw my line jump real fast. Try stripping those same flies in some deeper water if you've got the sink line to get it down to the bottom. Well, I think I'm going to call it a day on this cast here. It doesn't appear that they are eating the jig much more than they were eating my flies. Yep. Alright, well, we thank you guys for watching. Like and share us on Facebook, and we'll come out and do it for you again tomorrow. Thanks, guys.